Not all ghosts are the result of ancient curses or unexplainable tragedies. Some linger because of the pain they suffered in life. This story takes us to the island of Puerto Rico, where a historic hotel has been the site of strange occurrences for years. A place where the line between the living and the dead is far too thin, and some guests have never left. The Hotel de San Juan, located in the heart of Old San Juan, is one of the oldest hotels on the island, having opened its doors in the early 20th century. It's a place with rich history, offering stunning views of the bay and the cobblestone streets of the city. Tourists from all over the world come to experience its old-world charm, its colonial architecture, and its reputation for being one of the finest hotels in the area. But behind the beauty and charm, there's a story that many locals know but rarely speak of. It's a place that has seen its share of tragedy, where the echoes of the past still seem to linger in the hallways, and where some guests claim to feel an unsettling presence, especially in the older parts of the hotel. In the early 2000s, a man named Thomas checked into the Hotel de San Juan. He had come to Puerto Rico for a business trip, and as a frequent traveler, he'd stayed in many hotels across the world. But there was something about this one that felt different from the moment he stepped inside. The lobby was quiet, with only a few other guests scattered around, and the air had a strange heaviness to it. It wasn't the usual warm, tropical air that he was used to in Puerto Rico. It was colder, almost like a chill running through the walls. Thomas checked in and was led to his room on the 3rd floor. As the elevator doors opened, he felt a sudden drop in temperature, and the hairs on the back of his neck stood up. The hallway was dimly lit, the old wallpaper peeling at the edges, and a faint smell of mildew hung in the air. He thought little of it, chalking it up to the hotel's age. When he entered his room, he noticed that the lights flickered once, but then remained on. The bed was large, with a white canopy, and the windows opened to a beautiful view of the city. He felt a sense of relief and decided to unwind with a drink. As he sat on the bed, he heard it, a soft, faint sound. It was like a whisper, a voice distant and unintelligible. At first, he thought it was the wind or someone talking in the hallway. But as the seconds passed, the whispers grew louder, more distinct. It sounded like someone was speaking directly into his ear, but there was no one there. Thomas stood up, heart racing, and opened the door. The hallway was empty. No one was there. He looked around, trying to shake off the uneasy feeling that had settled over him. He returned to his room, but when he closed the door behind him, he saw something that made his blood run cold. The reflection in the mirror wasn't his. Instead, he saw the image of a woman, dressed in a long white gown, her face obscured by dark, unkempt hair. She was standing behind him in the reflection, but when he turned around, the room was empty. He rushed to the door, checked the hallway again, but no one was there. Just a cold, unsettling silence. He sat back down on the bed, shaking now. The whispers returned, louder than before, coming from the corner of the room. The words were still unclear, but the tone was unmistakable. There was a sense of urgency in the voice, like it was trying to tell him something important, something he wasn't supposed to know. By the time the sun had set, Thomas had had enough. He packed his things and decided to leave. But as he made his way toward the elevator, he saw something that stopped him in his tracks. The woman from the mirror. She was standing at the far end of the hallway, staring at him. He couldn't move, paralyzed by fear. Her face was pale, her eyes black holes of emptiness. She stepped forward slowly, and as she did, the lights flickered and the temperature dropped even further. Thomas backed away toward the elevator, but the woman kept coming. Her movements were slow, deliberate, and each step echoed in the empty hallway. Just as she reached him, the elevator doors opened. Thomas didn't hesitate. He rushed inside and hit the button to close the doors. As the doors slid shut, he saw her one last time, her hand reaching out toward him, her mouth opening in a silent scream. Thomas checked out of the hotel that night, too terrified to stay another minute, but the experience stayed with him. After returning home, he couldn't shake the image of the woman from the hotel. He searched for any history about the hotel, trying to find out who she might have been. What he found made his blood run cold. The woman was Eleanor, a guest who had checked into the hotel many years ago in the early 1900s. According to the records, she had been found dead in her room under mysterious circumstances. It was said that she had been a bride-to-be, but her fiancé had vanished the night before their wedding, and she was never seen again. She had died in the hotel alone, and the case was never solved. But the most chilling part, Eleanor had stayed in room 307, the same room where Thomas had been. And according to the hotel's old guest log, she had checked in with a man who had never signed out. It was said that the man left in the middle of the night, and no one ever heard from him again. The whispers, the chilling presence, the reflection in the mirror, all of it was Eleanor trying to tell Thomas the truth. She was still waiting for her fiancé to return. To this day, guests who stay in room 307 report strange occurrences. The whispers, the cold spots, and the feeling of being watched. The woman in the mirror. Eleanor's story is far from over, and some souls can never leave the places they once loved. If you ever find yourself at the Hotel de San Juan, beware of room 307, because Eleanor's waiting for someone to listen.
A deserted country road winds through dense fog. Tall trees loom overhead. A single car headlights cut through the darkness. Inside the car, Jason Harper driving and Emily Harper sitting in the passenger seat. Jason, are you sure this is the right place? The realtor said it's just down this road. The house is supposed to be abandoned for years, perfect for renovations. The car rounds a bend and suddenly the silhouette of an old decaying mansion emerges from the fog. Its windows are dark, some broken vines crawling up the walls. Jason parks the car. They get out. The wind picks up, carrying a faint, whispering voice. Emily shivers. The front door groans as Jason pushes it open. The air inside is cold, stale, and smells faintly of decay. They walk in. Their footsteps echo in the empty halls. Dust swirls around them in the moonlight. A grand staircase leads up to the second floor, its banister warped and rotting. Suddenly, a faint child's laugh echoes from upstairs. Emily freezes. Did you hear that? Emily Enchka Ging. Probably a raccoon or something. They continue exploring. In the dining room, a long table is covered in cobwebs. Chairs are overturned. A silver candelabra lies on the floor, dented. Jason picks it up and shakes it gently. Then the candelabra flies from his hands across the room, smashing into the wall. Jason and Emily stumble back, horrified. A loud creaking sound comes from the staircase. Both look up. A dark shadow moves across the top landing. It disappears. Emily gasps. Dort. Emily unwraps a blanket, trying to warm herself. A sudden knock comes from the window. Both freeze. Who's there? Who's there? Emily startled. Jason slowly approaches the window. Nothing is outside. He sighs in relief. The knock comes again, louder this time. A faint, distorted child's voice whispers, "Go away." Emily clutches Jason's arm. The temperature in the room drops dramatically. Their breath becomes visible. Suddenly, the lights from their flashlights flicker. Shadows stretch unnaturally along the walls. A cold, unseen hand brushes Emily's shoulder. She screams. Jason grabs a nearby chair, swinging it wildly, but hits nothing. The room is empty, yet the presence is undeniable. A low, guttural whisper fills the room. You shouldn't have come. Jason and Emily huddle together, terrified as the first real night of horror begins in Willow Creek. Jason and Emily are huddled on the floor, clutching each other. The cold in the room is unbearable. Their breaths come in short gasps. Shadows twist unnaturally across the walls. Jason grabs his phone, trying to call for help. No signal. He tries again. Still nothing. A soft, dragging sound comes from the hallway outside the room. Something is moving. A door at the end of the hallway creaks open slowly on its own. Emily hides her face in Jason's chest. The room grows darker, as if a shadow is spreading. A low, almost human-like moan echoes from the corridor. I want to leave. I want to go home, Emily crying softly. Jason slowly stands, trying to look brave. He grabs a candle from a dresser and lights it. The flame flickers violently, then steadies. He steps into the hallway. The floorboards groan under his weight. Cold wind brushes past him. He shines the candle down the hall. A small, pale hand suddenly reaches out from under the staircase, grabbing at him. Jason stumbles back, screaming. Jason! Emily screaming. The hand disappears as quickly as it appeared. Silence falls. But now, faint whispers are all around them, echoing from the walls and ceiling. Whispers overlapping. Leave. Now. Go. The next morning, the rain has stopped, leaving a damp, foggy landscape outside. Jason and Emily are examining the house by daylight, the horrors of the night before fresh in their minds. They find a small library, dusty and full of cobwebs. Emily opens a large book, flipping through pages of old newspaper clippings. Jason, look at this. Clippings show a series of mysterious deaths and disappearances in the mansion, all involving children. One article catches their attention. A woman named Madeline Thorne was accused of witchcraft and killed on the property in the 1800s. A sudden loud bang upstairs makes them both jump. A chair slides across the floor on its own. The air grows icy again. Jason grabs Emily's hand. We need help. Someone who understands this. Jason finds an old working landline in the study room. He dials frantically. The line clicks. Then a calm, confident voice answers. This is Dr. Marcus Vale. How may I help you? My name is Jason Harper. We moved into a mansion in Willow Creek. Something's wrong. There's a spirit here. It attacked us last night. Take a deep breath. Describe the events from the beginning. Jason recounts everything. The whispers, the shadows, the hand under the stairs, the dragging sounds, and the chilling presence. Emily adds the newspaper clippings about Madeline Thorne. Jason hangs up, glancing at Emily, both knowing that tonight will be even worse than before. The rain has returned, light at first, then heavier. Fog swirls across the lawn. Jason and Emily stand at the edge of the driveway, nervously awaiting Dr. Marcus Vale and his team. A sleek black SUV appears through the mist. Three figures step out. Dr. Marcus Vale, a calm, experienced paranormal investigator. Sister Helena, a medium with deep spiritual insight. And Liam, a tech specialist with a knack for detecting anomalies. Are you ready? Once we enter, there's no turning back until we've dealt with her. I don't know if I can. Emily trembling. They all enter the mansion. The doors creak ominously, echoing through the dark hallways. The team sets up equipment: EVP recorders, EMF detectors, cameras, and candles. Dr. Vale explains the plan. Madeline Thorne is strong. She feeds off fear. She reacts to sudden movements, loud sounds, and non-vegetarian food. Her anger stems from betrayal and her violent death. Tonight, we'll attempt to communicate, then bind her spirit. Jason and Emily sit in the corner, holding each other. A faint whisper floats through the room, too soft to catch clearly. A sudden slamming sound upstairs causes Liam to drop his camera. Dr. Vale moves toward the staircase. He ascends, candle in hand. The shadows seem to stretch along the walls, forming twisted shapes. A chilling, high-pitched laugh echoes down the staircase. Dr. Vale carefully approaches a closed door at the end of the hallway. The temperature drops sharply. His breath becomes visible. Madeline Thorne, we are here to help you move on. The door slams open violently on its own. A shadowy figure appears. A pale woman in a tattered dress, her eyes black voids. Long black hair obscures most of her face. She floats a few inches above the floor, moving unnaturally. Madeline Thorne, your anger belongs to the past. You will not harm them. The ghost screams, a high-pitched wail that shakes the walls. Furniture slides across the floor. Candles extinguish themselves one by one. Liam shouts, trying to record everything. Sister Helena steps forward, holding a small pendant glowing faintly. By the light of the old, by the power of the unseen, I call you to listen. The ghost pauses, tilts her head. A whisper emerges, almost human. Why did they betray me? Ghost whispering. Suddenly, a loud crash is heard from downstairs. Jason and Emily run toward the sound. They see furniture thrown across the room. A shadow moves across the ceiling, then lands in front of them. It's Madeline Thorne, Emily screaming. The ghost lunges at Jason. He is thrown across the room. Emily tries to grab him, but the ghost grabs her too. Both are lifted off the ground by an invisible force. Dr. Vale runs to the center of the room, holding a small silver cross and chanting an incantation. The ghost lets out a chilling scream. Leave or die, ghost screaming. Jason manages to grab a piece of broken furniture, swinging it at the ghost. It passes through her like smoke, but slows her down. Dr. Val's shouting grows louder. Sister Helena joins in, the pendant glowing brighter. The ghost starts to dissipate slowly, her wail fading. The air warms. The objects stop moving. Jason and Emily collapse to the floor, exhausted but alive. Dr. Vale's serious to Emily and Jason. This is only the beginning. Spirits like Madeline Thorne, they are powerful. But tonight, she has been weakened. The camera lingers on the shadowy corners of the room, hinting that she may not be gone entirely. Jason and Emily sit as Sister Helena performs a vision ritual. Candles circle them. Incense smoke curls around their faces. Suddenly, the room shifts. The walls seem to bleed. Her fury is born of betrayal, starvation, and murder. They left me. They left me. Ghost whispering. Objects fly. Lights flicker. Shadows dart across hallways. Jason and Emily are trapped in a room, terrified. She's feeding off your fear. Stay calm. Dr. Vale shouting. Jason sees ghostly children in the corner, echoes of Madeline's lost family. One reaches toward him, whispering, "Join us." He panics, but Sister Helena intervenes with her pendant, driving the spirits back. Dr. Vale and Sister Helena lure Madeline into the attic. Candles, protective symbols, and chanting surround her. "You can't take me!" Ghost, screaming. Emily, summoned by Sister Helena, repeats her mother's name to calm Madeline, connecting to the part of her soul still human. "Madeline, it's time to rest. You don't have to hurt anymore." The ghost shrieks, convulses, then suddenly falls silent, hovering briefly before dissipating into mist. The attic is still. The storm outside breaks into light rain. The mansion is quiet. Broken furniture remains, but the oppressive darkness is gone. Jason and Emily sit, exhausted but alive. It's over. She's gone. For now. Spirits like her leave traces. Respect the house. Don't return alone. Sister Helena. Madeline Thorne's story is a warning. Not all spirits want revenge. Some just want closure. The team leaves, the mansion looming quietly in the early morning fog. The camera lingers on a corner of the attic. Faint black smoke curls, hinting she may not be completely gone. Jason and Emily walk away, holding hands. Birds chirp. Life seems to return to normal, but a faint wind carries a whisper. "I'll be waiting," ghost whispering. Cut to black. The credits roll, leaving a lingering sense of unease. My name is Ethan, and this happened to me when I was living alone in a small apartment in the city. It was a night I'll never forget. I had just moved into the building, a modest place with peeling paint and creaky floors. Everything seemed normal until the first night I noticed the apartment directly across from mine. At first, it was nothing unusual. Windows, doors, typical city apartment life. But then I began noticing strange lights flickering at odd hours. Sometimes, the apartment would be completely dark, and suddenly a single window would glow with a dim, pale light. One night, around 2 a.m., I couldn't sleep. I went to my balcony for a cigarette. The street was quiet, and only the apartment across the street had the light on. I leaned on the railing, smoking, and noticed a man and a woman inside, standing very still, almost like statues. Their heads were close together, and I could faintly hear what sounded like whispering or muttering. I strained my ears, but it was hard to understand. Minutes passed, and their movements became strange. The man's gestures were stiff, unnatural, and the woman seemed frozen in place. My stomach twisted with unease. Something about them felt wrong. I blinked, and suddenly, the man's face caught the light in a way that made my heart stop. I could swear it was exactly like my own face. Every detail. Same eyes, same jawline. My hands shook. I told myself it must be a trick of the light, a reflection, or maybe just my imagination. But the feeling in my chest tightened. Fear, disbelief, and something darker I couldn't name. The woman suddenly moved closer to him, and I noticed she wasn't moving naturally. Her head tilted unnaturally, her arms stiff. My mind screamed that this wasn't real, and yet I could see every detail. I stumbled back from the balcony, my heart racing. I tried to call a friend, anyone, but my phone screen flickered strangely and then went black. For weeks after that night, I began noticing more things. Sounds from the empty apartment. Shadows moving behind the curtains, always when no one should be there. Sometimes, I would catch glimpses of the man across the street standing perfectly still, staring directly at me. But when I looked again, the apartment seemed empty. One night, I dreamt that I walked into the apartment across the street. The man approached me. I felt his eyes on me, and my own reflection stared back, but it wasn't me. My reflection smiled, a cruel, knowing smile that froze my blood. I woke up sweating, heart pounding, and for days I couldn't shake the feeling that someone or something was watching me. I decided to investigate. I spoke to neighbors, asking casually about the apartment. Everyone shrugged. "No one's living there," they said. "It's been empty for months." Empty? Then, who had I been watching that first night? I told myself it had to be a hallucination, stress, lack of sleep. I tried to ignore it. But the flickering lights, the shadows, the figure with my face, it didn't stop. One evening, I returned home late. The building was unusually silent. I stepped into the lobby and noticed a small envelope slid under my door. Inside was a single piece of paper. Written in neat, unfamiliar handwriting, it said, "You are not alone. I have always been here, waiting." I dropped the paper, my hands trembling, my mind raced. Could it be a prank? A neighbor with too much time? But the handwriting, it looked eerily like my own. That night, I couldn't sleep. I sat by the window, eyes fixed on the apartment across the street. And then I saw it. The man, my face, standing at the window, watching, waiting. I didn't dare blink. My mind was screaming, heart pounding, stomach twisting. And then the man raised a hand, pointing directly at me. Suddenly, my own hand rose on its own. I had no control. My body obeyed some unseen force. The man's lips moved, and I felt like I could hear him in my mind. "You belong to me." I collapsed onto the floor, shaking, unable to move. When I looked up, the apartment was empty. The lights were off. Nothing there but shadows. I tried to leave the building, move out, anything. But no matter where I went, I felt watched. Mirrors became my enemy. Reflections sometimes didn't match reality. My face in the glass sometimes smiled when I wasn't smiling. Weeks turned into months. Friends noticed I was pale, anxious, restless. I didn't tell them about the man across the street, the figure that was somehow me. Then one night, I received another envelope. Same handwriting. This one read, "Time is shorter than you think. Soon we will be one." I realized then that it wasn't just a hallucination. It was a warning, a doppelganger, something that was waiting for me, or waiting to replace me. I've moved apartments several times since then. Each time, I check across the street. Each time, I see the flickering light. Each time, I see him. My reflection. My double. Watching. Waiting. Sometimes, I catch myself staring into mirrors for hours, wondering if I'm really me, or if the man across the street has already started living my life somewhere else. I don't know if this will ever end. Maybe it's a curse, a psychological trap, or some strange cosmic joke. But I know this. The apartment across the street will always be watching, and so will he. And sometimes, late at night, when everything is quiet, I hear a whisper, faint but clear. "You're mine."